And I'm Ruman. And this isn't like a power ranking where it's like 1 through 30. It's kind of just where we see each team could potentially be, since this is just the start of training camp. And this is what our content's mostly going to be about, just seeing where every team stands, the latest news. And we're not going to cover the news in this video just because, honestly, we just need to show everyone where everyone's at, because we've all seen free agencies already happened, everything's already happened, but training camp is just starting, which means the preseason is just around the corner, which means that this is the perfect time to make a generalization of where we think each team is, and then by the time preseason happens and it's done, we'll have a better idea of where we want to rank them at a 1 to 30.
Yeah. So, with the power rankings, we got Super Bowl appearance, we got NFC Championship, playoff win, playoff loss, missed playoffs, and then isn't terrible, and then missed playoffs is terrible, and then we got number one overall contender. So
Yeah. I think the important thing to say here is we're not just doing it by, the two teams in Super Bowl. We're going to do it based on potential for the training camp, because a lot of teams have made some moves, and obviously some will pan out, some won't, but we're just going to look at the potential of each team based on their history, what happened, what changed. So Super Bowl appearance is not going to just have two teams. It's going to have like 3, 4 maybe, which might be a bit much, but like there's going to be like a bunch of number one overall pick contenders, I think, because I think a lot of teams got worse. But I think this is about to be the place where people are the most, because I think that a lot of teams did get worse, and injuries are going to be more prone just because of how the NFL is nowadays, with how many people getting hurt, like Christian McCaffrey. But anyways, let's
all
get
right.
started.
Yep.
Our first team is the LA Rams. Where are we trying to put them?
Honestly, okay, my opinion, I have them at a playoff win. I don't think they're at championship. They might be at championship this year, but it's close. I have them at playoff win or championship.
Well, I'm not high on the Rams. I actually
Really?
had them at missed playoffs isn't terrible,
Mm.
because I just don't think that this team has a real vision after Matthew Stafford. And I think that since you get older, you're more likely to get injured. And it's just like the 49ers. They had McCaffrey, they had everything, but they got injured.
That's a
Same with
fair
that's gonna
point.
happen with
Yeah,
the
that's a fair
Rams.
point. Honestly, I
And
think I think you're fine if you put them at playoff loss. To be honest, um, I feel like that's a decent spot for them, especially because Matthew Stafford's really good, but
yeah,
if he does get injured or if his wide receivers go down, there's no chance of them winning the playoffs. I don't
yeah.
I don't think they can go far if one of them gets injured.
But another thing I want to look at when I say that they're not making the playoffs, in my opinion, is just because I see the NFC and I see a few teams that are like really good, and then I see the Rams. They're just not as talented, and I'll just list them: the Eagles, Falcons, and yeah, Falcons. They collapsed, but I think they're good this year. Buccaneers, Commanders, Packers, Vikings, Lions, Bears. 49ers are, I think they're above them, but I don't think that the Rams are making the playoffs. I don't think the Niners are either. And I like the Seahawks and Cardinals over them. That's like
Yeah,
most of the NFC, and I think they're better than the Rams just because the Rams have an old quarterback. They have only a few offensive playmakers, and their defense isn't exactly what it used to be,
yeah. Okay,
which is
I like that. I like that spot. Yeah,
so I think playoff loss is fine, but I don't know if they're gonna make the playoffs this year just because of how competitive the NFC is.
yeah,
Anyways, next team is the Browns, and I think I know already where they're at. One of these two spots.
yeah. I think they're barely above missed playoffs just because of their defense, but it's gonna be rough. It's like
Yeah.
they don't have a running game, they don't have a passing game. Their offense is just horrible. I think their defense is gonna win them 3 games, 4 games.
Yeah, I think they're number one draft pick contender just because, I mean, you could look at their defense and say sure, but look at the draft picks they just added. They had the chance to pair Myles Garrett with Abdul Carter
I know,
and
bro.
probably make it into this area, and then they gave two they got just two I'm not really high on their draft picks, which is why I think they're number one draft pick contender. But
Yeah, they picked
I'll
two
put them
running
here.
backs, dude.
Yeah, I'll put them here just because I don't think they're gonna be the worst teams.
Yeah,
I think there's like a tier below them just because the Browns do have talent. It's not like they have no talent, but I don't think this team's gonna be really good.
all right. The Falcons. I mean, they
This
have
is
a
really interesting. I
yeah.
think they gotta be like somewhere in this tier.
I don't think they're Super Bowl appearance or championship just yet. They might be in playoff win. The only reason that is because Michael Penix is 1 year under his belt barely, and like
Yeah.
it really depends on how he plays and how the defense plays. Because the defense, we don't know if Jalen Walker or James Pierce can do good yet. Like we just
Yeah.
don't know. But they added a ton of good pieces, really good depth pieces, especially off the edge. I really think they should focus more on the secondary, in my opinion. Like their secondary is a little bit, it's hit or miss. Like Kobe Bryant's out with non-injury for football. Um,
Yeah.
I think they're a playoff win right now, just because I think they could definitely win a playoff game. Because they were at 8-9 last season, I think they could go 10-7. I think they could go 11-6.
Yeah, that's about a Falcons record in general. But when I look at the roster, my biggest concern is, yeah, Penix. I'm not as concerned because I feel like what we saw last year is a good representation of what he's gonna be. I think that he could be more, but I don't think we'll see less, is what
Yeah,
I'm thinking. And then another thing is, I think that when you look at Jalen Walker, he's basically their version of what Micah Parsons was for the Cowboys a few
yeah.
years ago. And I think that's going to be game changing for them. And the reason I'm not as concerned about their secondary, even though it does have question marks, when you see AJ Terrell and Jesse Bates in the secondary, you kind of like, okay, it's not going to be the worst team. It's going to be like 15th or at least middle of the pack at minimum. I think they could play Clark Phillips more, and that would up it a bit.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
another thing is James Pierce is a big question mark, but the biggest question mark I have is if Darnell Mooney is going to be as good coming after the injury, because
It's
some
true.
players like go back. He's mainly speed based, and that injury might hurt his like down the field throws, and that limits the offense because while London can get there, nobody on the team is as fast as Mooney, especially when you cut Rondale Moore.
I think Pitts is gonna have a huge year. I know a lot of people say that every year. I think Pitts is gonna be he's gonna have a huge year this year. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's just him with another quarterback that's actually gonna be playing. I
Yeah.
think within the offseason is gonna be huge for him. Like, as long as he doesn't slug around, he can do good, he can do the good things. I feel like.
I feel like for the Falcons, if there was a year to win the Super Bowl, it would be this year because then you have to choose between Kyle Pitts and Tyler Algier, and you can't keep both. And I feel like with both options, that's what makes their offense better this year. That's why I think that if you wanted to push for Super Bowl appearance, you could because this is kind of their year to do it. If you lose Algier, then you have to look for a backup running back that won't be as good.
I mean, some people are saying the Panthers are better, so I think that's a decent spot.
Yeah, the Chargers. I think they're in the same tier as
Playoff
the
win, yeah,
Falcons.
same tier. I
Oh,
think they're in the same
yeah.
tier. They've got a really good running back, really good like wide receiver and Lad McConkey, Justin Herbert. I just think Justin Herbert, he's on the edge. Like he could be, it could be playoff win, playoff loss. I mean, if he throws 4 picks again, it's gonna be awful.
Herbert's like on that tier where he could go down. If he makes one run, he'll be known as Drew Brees. If he doesn't, he'll be known as like Philip Rivers or like
Yeah,
Dan Marino, a quarterback who put up insane stats, played insanely against
I
great
think he's
competition.
just a below S tier. Like S tier is like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson.
Josh Allen,
He's like there.
Joe Burrow. He's like A tier, but like so close to S tier. He just needs to like make one good playoff run, and then he's in the same conversation.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
statistically, he's like better than Allen. Statistically, he's sometimes better than Mahomes. And Burrow is like the only guy in front of him at that point, and that's really impressive. But
All right, the
honestly, nothing to worry
49ers,
about.
they lost a lot of really important pieces. I think Nick Bosa is going to do really well this year, but honestly, even with that, George Kittle's older. They lost a lot of wide receivers. I think they could be missed playoffs, but they're not going to be terrible. Like they're probably going to be 8-9, 7-10, somewhere in between there.
What? Well, the reason I think they're gonna be terrible is because I don't believe in Brock Purdy with this 49ers team. I'm one of those people who think Brock Purdy was just like he got in the right system. Because I think that with losing all these pieces, it's kind of going to expose Brock Purdy's actual value, especially when you paid him that contract. He's going to have to get you here, but I think realistically, he's going to probably put you here. You're not going to
Yeah,
win 7 games. I think they're going to go from like either 6 wins to 3 wins, but we can put him here just because I do feel like there's a chance. But yeah,
yeah.
the Panthers, I like them here because I think they're going to be a spoiler team.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so I diss the Panthers a lot, but honestly, the only problem they have is their tight end and their linebackers. Like, if their linebackers weren't shit, weren't they? If they weren't like really
Especially
bad,
if they didn't trade Brian Burns.
yeah. If they did not trade Brian Burns, I think they could be in playoff loss or playoff win. Bryce Young, he's proved that he could be decent. No, run out of time. Shoot, we got 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
It's fine. Um,
So the Seahawks, I think we got them here just because while they did add Darnold, I just don't think this team is really as good enough, just like last year. They're just not
yeah.
a playoff team. Yeah. Well, I think this is the first Super
First
Bowl.
Super Bowl appearance,
Do you
probably.
want to put them at championship loss? Because Allen's never really given reason to say they could make the Super Bowl ahead of the Chiefs. I think the only way this team makes the Super Bowl is if the Chiefs get eliminated before they play the Bills.
I agree with that.
So I think we have to put them here just for now
Yeah.
because they just never got
Green
there.
Bay, I think they're probably in playoff win or playoff loss.
I think lost just because they haven't really done anything notable this offseason to
Yeah.
make them better. But then again, when they were healthy, which was the previous playoff run, they did make a good case for an NFC Championship game.
All their wide receivers seem like they're gonna do good, but they're kind of iffy.
Yeah, you got some big name wide receivers that just don't do anything. And here's our first number one overall
Yeah,
pick
first
contender.
first pick overall. Raiders,
I think they're in the Browns tier because I
yeah.
saw what they released Christian Wilkins and that put them from like what here-ish area to here.
Alright, the Cowboys. This one's interesting.
Yeah. I think
I'd say
they're
they're
probably
probably in isn't terrible just because of Dak. Like if Dak can somewhat play okay, he's not gonna.
this team's kind of like the opposite of the Packers in a way. It's like you got a quarterback that's like Jordan Love, but then you've got a great receiver and nothing else. While the Packers have no receivers but everything else. So
Yeah,
I do think they have the same ceiling as the Packers, which is why I'll put them here. Because also the fact that the Eagles are not as good, and I could see the Cowboys just winning the division on a Dak MVP level season and then choking in first round, just like they
I
used to.
think I changed my mind on the Bears about them being bad. I think they're gonna do pretty decent this year. Ben Johnson coming in with Caleb Williams. If they don't do good, it's literally on Caleb Williams. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, this time, 100%. I think they should be playoff win just because of how much potential they have.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Colts, I was really high on the Colts for the past like 2 years. I thought they'd win this division both times. I'm still high on them. I think that they're a playoff win team just
I
because they
think
have so
okay.
much talent.
Hear me out. They have Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. That's their biggest problem. Like, if they didn't have Anthony Richardson and like Daniel Jones, they're like they'd probably be a lot higher. I have them at a playoff loss or missed playoff isn't terrible, just because of Jonathan Taylor.
But to be honest, even with their issues, they had been competing for the division for the past 2 years still. And I do think that since you knew Richardson was a developmental quarterback, I'll put him at playoff loss just to get me in the middle. But I do
Yeah,
think they're a playoff team this year.
Dolphins.
Dolphins, I'll have them at number one pick contender. I think this team's terrible.
Yeah, their defense kind of sucks. I was
But
looking at their offense
Tua's
at first, but then like their defense just not good.
Waddle and Hill are fast, but nothing else. Tua's bad. The O line's bad. Tight end, nothing notable. I think the Dolphins have become really bad, and it's not the coach's fault at that point, but I don't think he's going to be able to keep his job. But the Patriots, I think they're going to be here.
Yeah, they could either be there where the 49ers are, in my opinion.
I think they're better than the 49ers just because May is a much better quarterback than Brock Purdy and has shown that he could get them wins last year that they didn't think possible. If you saw that like crazy
Yes,
overtime
true.
throw, and this time he's got some more help.
All right,
I
Lions
think it's
Super Bowl contender for sure. I mean,
yeah.
I think that's their first Super Bowl contender. Bengals. I would say their defense
Super
holding them
Bowl
back.
contender.
Hell no.
This
I
team has no defense.
I would say championship or playoff win. That's like the
Oh my
limit.
god, you're overrating this team, bro. They're not making the playoffs, and they are terrible. Have you
Okay,
seen
maybe
the
playoff
newest
loss. Maybe playoff
standings?
loss.
I don't know
Just
if you put them in
because
playoffs just because if you look at the standings, I think the Browns are better than the Bengals are now.
that's wild, bro.
No, I think the Browns are better than the Bengals because the Browns have literally everything but a quarterback. The Bengals have an offense, Or no, they have 3 players and everyone else is terrible. 3 players.
I mean, I wouldn't say everybody else, but yeah, they still have
Look at
the
their line. Look at their running backs. Look at their tight end, and look at their
true.
defense.
I mean, Chase Brown isn't horrible. I would put them in missed playoff isn't terrible, just because they might go 8-9. Maybe they could.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Their defense is just. Ugh. Titans. That's probably. They could compete, but like it's gonna be a playoff loss probably. Playoff loss or one.
If we graded the Bengals on 3 players, the Titans should be in the same tier because I think the Titans are a better team than the Bengals because at least their defense has some direction.
That's true. That's true. Direction. They got Justin Simmons and a ton of people. The Eagles probably Super Bowl or championship. I feel like they're in the same tier.
Playoff win. I think the Falcons are a better team than the Eagles all around since the Eagles lost so much talent. I think the Eagles, honestly, I could put them at playoff loss. I think they're going to do exactly what they did against the Packers, or no, the Buccaneers that one time, 2 years ago.
You know, I think they, I don't think they'll two-peat, but I don't think they'll be horrible. You know.
So where do we want to put them? Playoff win or championship loss?
Yeah. The Jaguars, they might be a number one pick contender. Their defense, like, they have some decent players, but like.
Yeah. But I actually think this team is underrated because if you look at it, this might be the best team Lawrence has ever played with. And then you've got Travis Hunter who can do both sides of the ball. You're adding some stars. I think this is a playoff team because the Patriots are a playoff team.
I feel like they missed the playoffs. I feel like they missed the playoffs just barely because of the AFC, like just how crazy the AFC is.
Yeah, actually, true. That is. Oh, the Broncos. I'm high on the Broncos.
Yeah, championship. That's championship. Yep. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. Giants.
They're number 1 pick contender.
Yeah, probably. They upgraded the defense, but
because they want Arch Manning.
I think so too. I think like the offense, it's not horrible. They got Russell Wilson. They're gonna be pretty bad though.
They want Arch Manning, but they're trying to hide it. And I would love to see Arch Manning in New York, to be honest.
All right, the Vikings.
They're gonna miss the playoffs and are terrible.
I think they'll miss the playoffs, but they're not gonna be terrible. Like they'll probably be 8-9.
I just think that this team basically goes as far as Justin Jefferson takes them, especially since Jordan Addison, like, you see what he's doing on the news.
Yeah.
We can put them here. Texans, I have them at playoff win because I think this team is still really good and people sleep on them.
Yeah.
Cardinals, I think they're going to be here because... No, actually, I have them playoff loss because I think this is the best team in their division.
Yeah. I could see that.
I think they're better than the Rams. I think they're better than the Cowboys for sure. I think the Rams and the Cardinals are going to be the 2 contenders in there. Like, I feel like if one of them goes to the playoffs, it's either going to be the Rams or the Cardinals. Yeah. Ravens. These next 2 teams are both the Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah. Buccaneers. I think they're playoff win.
Interesting.
I think they're playoff win. They're either playoff win or championship.
Yeah, I think honestly I'm leaning towards championship just because of but I think that their plan is long term around Baker Mayfield, and then this year is another one of their kind of they'll compete with the Lions, but they're not going to be able to beat them yet because their defense has holes.
Yeah, that's true.
The Jets on paper
number one contender. Because Justin Fields got injured.
No, but it's a minor injury now.
I mean, yeah. He'll be out for a week,
I think on paper, this Jets team is a Super Bowl winner, but you can't put them at number 1 overall pick contender. I think they'll miss the playoffs and is not terrible. This team is better than the Vikings. Don't even lie. All right. The Steelers.
Steelers? I think they're going to go 8-9 or 8-8-1.
But this team is pretty bad, which is why I think they're going to miss playoffs is terrible. Because these other teams have talent. The Steelers have no talent. It's just TJ Watt and a boring defensive scheme. All
right. The Commanders, the final team. They'll probably be playoff win. They'll probably be playoff win. I don't think they'll go as high this year.
I think you have to put them at championship loss because the thing is, the Commanders are very interesting. Where Jaden Daniels plays in a way where you can't really stop it, and people talk about sophomore slump, but look at Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson plays the same way as Jaden Daniels, and he won MVP second year.
That's
Josh Allen
true.
plays the same way as Jaden Daniels, took the Bills to the playoffs second year. So you got to look at the archetype. And
So we're gonna put the Commanders at playoff win, just because I think their ceiling is high, but we could be missing a Jaden Daniels injury where it goes like RG3 and they just win a playoff game. Because I don't think the Commanders are like trash without Daniels, but I do think that they can make it further, but we can meet in the playoff win.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, and also, so guys, in the next episode, we're going to just talk about some underrated teams, and we're going to talk about mostly the teams that we talk about in the playoff win, playoff loss, or missed playoffs isn't terrible. And we're going to just talk about which teams we think are overrated, underrated, or sleepers, or like, you know, what we talk about the Panthers, like the spoiler team. So that's what we're really going to discuss in the next episode, and we're going to talk about some more news on that. Felt like the Commanders' name change.
Yep. All right. I'll
All
see
right,
you.
see you.